And this is all new to me. I was told that not to watch TV, not to read anything. You know, I wasn't allowed to look at the outside world and see what other things were out there. I was supposed to write and do this all on my own with them telling me what to do. And I could see them calling to me from across the universe. And I knew the planets had to be aligned a certain way, the moon had to be a certain way, all of this for all this information to come through properly. And I had to be a certain mindset. But I wasn't allowed. That's why, I'm just now learning all these other people out there that already know this stuff. And I'm like, and who knew? All these people knew this stuff for years, and I didn't even know it existed because it's all new to me. I always accepted what was told for me to do. I had to follow the rules. I had to do it this way. And when I got cancer and my whole world changed, I started questioning everything. Why am I here? What is this all about? And I'm not accepting what other people are saying as my truth today. And that brings me to an experience I had right before I got breast cancer. I was sitting in my living room, and I had these 3 people appeared above the ceiling. They were in like these thrones, and I could see the woman. She was like glowing, and she loudly echoed to me that you are not supposed to be here. And I'm looking around. I had everything. I had my house. I was living, the view outside, the pool, the wildlife reserve back there. I had everything in my life. I'm thinking, I must be hallucinating. This is so not true. Within a week of that experience, I had one of my dogs die. A week after that, I had the other dog die. And then a week after that, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. My whole world changed. I thought if there was a God, that was the wrath of God coming down on my world. And now, that was in 2010 when all of that started. And now I look back on that, and that was the best thing ever happened to me, or I would still be in that illusion of what life is about. I would never wake up and be excited to know what the universe holds for me in comparison to what I was back then. I was a robot back then. It took a traumatic experience to wake me up and realize there's more out there. And that's what a lot of people are experiencing, these traumatic events, so that they can wake up and get on their proper path. So, I've had periods in my life where these people just show up out of nowhere and say this stuff, and then I'm like, I'm losing my mind. And now it all makes sense to me of who they are and what they're about. And they're trying to help us and help wake us up. It's like the fish in the water, you got to feed the fish and take care of the fish, and it has no clue what you even are, but they know you're there to feed them. And that's what these higher entities are about. But not all of them are good. There's a lot of bad ones out there, and they've broken off, and they have their own agenda of what they want, and they want to control us. They like feeding off our fear, and that's the hard part to get through. We have to get past that and not be afraid. And it takes a complete inventory of your life. You have to really look back on everything that you were and what you did, and be in acceptance for who you are today as a result of all of that. I grew up in foster care, so there was a lot of painful things that I had to intertwine into who I am today. we are being controlled.
Yes.
And when I woke up and realized that, I was so angry. I was like, why do I have to go through this? And there wasn't anybody around me who understood it. It was like I was looking at a robotic people walking around me. And I'm like, can't you see what's happening in our world? And I get emotional just thinking about it, because I see so many people who are killing themselves because they can't handle it. And that's why this is so important to me. But it's so important because we're in such a transitional state right now that a lot of people are just giving up. They can't handle knowing. They don't want to know. And we have to know. We have to look at where we come from and who we are so that we can accept all of that to move forward. And it's even in our foods. When I'm like, it's in my food, that's a whole other ball game. When I realize that there's these companies out there that are knowingly giving us bad stuff to eat. I mean, even just going through my day or watching the news, all of the stuff that's happening, there's so much negativity. And how is it my responsibility to keep myself pure and full of light, love, and healing when I see all this going on? But I keep myself in that little bubble, I call it, through the day, and nobody's allowed in my bubble. And there are times people burst my bubble that I have to, and I try to look at it like a test. Okay, this is a test for my transition. And how am I going to respond? It's not what's happening to me, it's how I respond to what's happening to me. It's not what's happening to me, it's how I respond to what's happening to me. And there's some pretty bad stuff that has happened to me. And I could choose to sit in that and just live my life out and hide, or I can learn from that and share it with other people to help other people learn how they can get through it too. And that's what's motivating me in this, because we are at war. And people are being controlled, their thoughts are being controlled, and they don't even understand it. And that was happening to me too. And I had a patient who actually told me that she was having a great day, and these thoughts kept coming into her head to take these pills every time she walked by them. And after about the 8th time, she didn't even think about it. She just took the whole bottle. She doesn't know why. And when I realized that the principles were real, I was focusing on honesty and faith and trust. And when I realized these were real entities out there that bring us knowledge from the creator of all, I got scared. I'm like, what is this world? What does all of this mean for me? And I was told that you need the darkness and the light for creation. You cannot know what love is without knowing what it is not. And I experienced nothing but the darkness up until this point in my life, so that I could know the difference, so that I could create something good out of all of the bad. And the principles that are at war, they're playing out physically on our planet. And this is like a game to them. And we are their pawns. And when we wake up and realize, wait a minute, we are not going to allow this anymore. I don't want to live in all of this and think I have no choices and that I have to do whatever I'm told to do. I don't have to do that anymore. and it's causing a whole. It's actually biblical if you think about it. It's what they talk about in Revelation with the end of times, because as more and more people wake up, we're looking for a new world. We don't want this anymore, and that I see, and it makes sense to me now. We're separating into two different worlds, and people call it two different timelines, whatever they want to call it. I mean, what's in a name that by which we can call any other name?